Well, the question of the day is, will she hold? Well, listen, guys, it is a beautiful day outside. It's about 45 degrees. There's a little bit of wind, but otherwise it's just sunny. There's no clouds in the sky. This plane is just screaming to go flying. We're not going to fly today, so we're going to do some taxis. We're going to do some serpentines, some high-speed taxis, just make sure everything is straight and true, and then we're going to come back and look at the linkages, make sure everything looks good, and then I think we're going to go flying tomorrow. But it's really important to make sure that you have a good testing plan and that you stick to it. We're not going to go up and fly today, even as tempting as it might be. So let's go do some testing. Back off the ground, and of course the wheel is good. There's really no play in that control rod. Everything looks good and tight. All of our little bolts are safetied, so I think we're in pretty good shape overall. Now, when I got the airplane did have the much larger tail wheel on the back. The owner told me he had upgraded it to a larger tail wheel, but he didn't do anything to the front wheel, so that's going to change the angle of attack. Now let me show you something. So here what I've done is I've raised the tail up 4 inches. The reason I chose that is because that is the difference between a 2-inch larger tail wheel and a 2-inch smaller main wheel, which is the configuration that it came with. So if we come over to the wing and we look at the angle of attack of the wing on the ground, it is extremely flat. And one of the things I noticed when I got this airplane, the very first takeoff, I had to get to about 65 miles an hour before I left the ground. In fact, I thought I would start getting ready to leave the ground at about 50 miles an hour. 55 came around, 60 came around, and then the plane started doing this weird porpoising thing where it sort of balked the takeoff about 3 times and then leapt into the air. And I'd never experienced that before in a tail wheel. If we put the tail wheel back on the ground, and now we've got the stock tail wheel, which is much smaller than the upgrade, and we look at the angle now with the larger main wheels, we can see a significantly improved angle of attack. And what that meant for me today, kind of predictably, I was watching for it, is that as I started rolling down the runway, when I got to 40 miles an hour, the plane started feeling a little lighter than usual. By the time I got to 50 miles an hour, I was pretty sure I was going to be leaving the ground soon, so I throttled back and finished the high-speed taxi. The improved angle of attack is going to make this plane leave the ground much sooner, so I'm looking forward to a much shorter takeoff, and we'll experiment with that next time. Well, listen, guys, I hope this was helpful to you. If you like this kind of content, hit subscribe, hit like, and we'll see you in the next video where we go flying.